It's another day, but the subflooring continues. I've done one thing that I haven't shot. It's adding support here at the very end, at the rear of the van. I don't think that's very, might be overkill. I don't think that's very useful because we're never gonna step on this area because it's gonna be the trunk. Sorry, sawdust. I've just dusted off the van because I'm gonna start the insulation. I have the roll of Pink Panther here that I'm gonna cut to fit in between the ribs, the wooden ribs right here. This is the insulation. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's do this. Here we go. Fiberglass is in. I've cut it along the wooden ribs. As you can see, it is much higher than the height of the ribs, but this flattens pretty well. So hopefully, once I come and screw my subfloor panels, this is all gonna be perfectly leveled. And that actually adds support right here in between the wood. So the subfloor is not too soft and it's safe to walk on. So halfway done now, screwing the subfloor panels. Wow, this is a long process. On all the surface of the subfloor so far, I have screwed this. This took me, I feel like this took me forever. At first I started by the end of this is the end of the panel right here. I started with this one, and the wood stud underneath actually started to lift and unglue from the van. So pro tip, don't start by the edges of your panels, of your studs. Start at the middle. So start by doing all of this, then all of this. I don't know how many screws you want to put in. I've put 4 on each stud. That might be overkill. Maybe 3 would have been enough. I think I'm gonna put less in these on the rest. But yeah, it's working pretty nice. This is really even. I think it's just taking so long. I'm out of screws anyway, so I need to go to Home Depot, get some screws, because I was salvaging some spare screws that I had, hoping that I would have enough. And I feel like I've put 1,000 screws on just this panel, and I have the entire van to do, remaining to do. The entire van left to do. So yeah, Home Depot, screws, maybe get a bite to eat, but first I need to get everything here back in there. fun. The subfloor is finished. Look at this. Looking pretty nice, I think. This required about 150 screws, but they're all worth it. Otherwise, with the insulation underneath, the floor would have just kept rising and bending the subfloor panels. So I'd say this is pretty good. As you can see, everything is pretty leveled. There's no, like, the insulation is not pushing up the subfloor panels, so everything looks okay. I'm actually pretty happy about this, even though it might not look like it because I'm really tired. My back and my knees hurt, but it was well worth it. I'm happy we have a floor. Not much to say here. I'm gonna go home and do a quick recap of what we did for the subfloor, because it's pretty noisy out here and I don't know if you can hear me that much. So I did get home, but didn't find the courage to shoot a recap video. Not a problem, I'll just voice it over. What we did for our subfloor is looking great. It's solid, the insulation is basic, but we think it will be enough. Here's what we did, step by step. We glued 1x2s to the floor of the van, on the lower curves of the metal ribs. We've put weight on them and let them glue for a couple of days, just to make sure that they stayed in place. We didn't want to make holes in the van floor, that's why we chose glue. We've then cut subfloor panels to fit the edges of the wheels and all the shapes of our cargo floor area. We used fiberglass rolls, cut long strips to use between the 1x2s, and made sure we covered the most area we could. Then, simply laid the panels on the fiberglass, screwed them to the 1x2s, and about 150 screws later, we were done. It took time, but we're very satisfied with what we did. There are plenty of ways to insulate your floor, of course, but we hope that these last two videos helped you and gave you tips you may be able to use in your own conversion. If it did, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more, and check us out on Instagram. You know, all that good stuff. Until then,
take care, and we'll see you on the next one.